So welcome to this edition of Straight Talk. I'm with Paul Goldin, who's with Avmor in Canada. So Paul, tell us about your company.
Thank you. Good morning, Jeff. Thank you for having me. Avmor, we are manufacturers of professional cleaning solutions, cleaning chemicals to be specific. We have been in business for over 70 years, since 1948, always manufacturing leading edge cleaning technologies, mainly for the Canadian market, across Canada over that time period.
Okay, so what's going on up there in Canada?
Well, you may not have heard, but there's a pandemic. And
we've
and,
heard about it.
Yeah. So it's been certainly a very different year, to say the least. It's been interesting. It's been very difficult at times from a business perspective, obviously very difficult from a health and safety perspective. But, we, like so many organizations, have had to make so many adjustments and changes to just do our best to satisfy the needs in the market. It's been a huge challenge, but a really interesting one.
So once we got on this call, you said you had a request for a meeting.
Right. So it's interesting. So much of what we've all been doing since, early March has been either, I've been kind of splitting at the beginning, mostly working from home and then splitting time between the home and the office and whatnot. But everything customer related has certainly been a video meeting like this one, phone calls, etc. There has not been a lot of face-to-face customer time. I speak to my sales team very regularly, and that's only really come back in the last few weeks and in a very limited fashion. So, I was telling you today, I actually have a meeting outside of my office, face-to-face, with president of one of our large distribution partners. And it's unusual because I haven't had that in a while.
Mm-hmm.
I look forward to it. But no, it's certainly, listen, the way of doing business has changed significantly. I'm used to quite a bit of business travel. I have not been on an airplane since March. It's a really different way of doing business.
If you were to compare the pandemic in Canada to the US, what would you say?
Oh man, that's like a loaded question, Jeff.
Yes, it is.
Listen, we're very different countries, right? I mean, our population is 10% of that of the American population on a larger mass of land. We went through, especially I live in Montreal, which at the beginning was the epicenter of the pandemic in Canada.
Okay.
We had, significant rates climbing every single day. We had, like in so many places, big problems amongst seniors, particularly in long-term care facilities and what have you. But I would give both the provincial and federal government some credit of how guidelines have been put in place. Certainly not perfect, but by and large, we see people have been respecting them, and they've managed to flatten things by and large. We're still seeing little mini spikes here and there. Today, the growth area is actually amongst young people, like say 20 to 35 age bracket, mostly because of, socializing, bars, parties, etc. But even with that, rates, in the province of Quebec, where I live, we're seeing, around 100 cases per day. Hospitals, by and large, not being overwhelmed right now. Deaths relatively low. But it's a huge adjustment to lifestyle, that's for sure.
So Paul, tell us about what you're doing with your business to compete.
So, like I said, it's certainly been challenging. It's very hard to predict, what's coming in. Some, like across North America, quat shortages have been a real issue. Certain packaging problems, sprayers, pumps, etc., soap dispensers, things like that have been a real challenge. Forcing us to audible, right? And bring in alternatives, and credit to our team. Both our internal team and our external team have really worked really hard to really take care of our customers and always at least offer an alternative, and really just listen to what their needs are, et cetera. It's been interesting and challenging. Sometimes I wake up in the morning so frustrated that we're unable to do more because of certain supply issues. And then at the end of the day, I'll look and say, thank goodness that this is the business that we're in, and not so many others that have struggled so much due to things out of their control. So it's certainly been challenging, but also rewarding at the same time.
So what would you say that you're doing more strategic than others?
I don't know if, to say more strategic than others, hard to say, other than, a lot, we're doing our best to communicate. Internally, we have regular meetings inside about what the next demands are and what we're going to do to work through them. Strong communication with the sales team and even to key customers. It's not rocket science in a lot of ways. It's just really getting basics and really trying to put ourselves in the position of our customers, both distributors and strategic end users alike, to really understand their needs and to do our best and to listen and to provide the best solutions that we can for them. A lot of it is even beyond product. A lot of it is training and processes and helping them put together a program so they can, satisfy their customers and what have you. So it's been a lot of all of that.
So Paul, you are on the board of the ISSA board of directors. I believe you were a recent president.
Correct.
And by the way, Paul, thank you for being on time with your articles.
Well, I was warned in advance that, one of the most important responsibilities and things that seem to come around faster than you think are the articles and when they're due. So thank you for your patience and saying that I was always on time when we both know I wasn't always.
Well, we got it done.
We got it done. Yeah, we got it done.
What would you say is your best experiences with being on the board?
Oh my goodness. Unbelievable experience, to be on the front line, to be involved in shaping strategy for the association and therefore the industry, to be involved in this worldwide association. I mean, so much happened during my time on the board, and certainly my time on the executive, which was so fortunate. I say it all the time. We had a recent, Zoom board meeting earlier in July, and as much as you learn so much from others, from the association, from involvement and creating, not that we created it, but in GBAC and things like that, you just take away so much and learn so much and do your best to contribute. But really the relationships that you make on the board are by far the best part. And I have, business relationships and friendships that'll last forever as a result of my time on the board. Yes,
good friendships. Tell us a bit about GBAC. How do you think that's going to affect ISSA?
I think it is a huge part of the future of not only ISSA, but our industry. To have a program in place that really helps and guides and requires certification and processes around essentially keeping a building and its tenants and workers, safe and healthy. This global advisory board is it's unbelievable. It's so powerful. We've put our whole sales team through the program, and we really think it's the way of the future. We see so many in such a short period of time, so many successes already of major organizations jumping on board. It's pretty amazing. And this Global Risk Advisory Council is something that everybody should sink their teeth into.
Yes, I think they're going to do that.
Okay.
All right, Paul. Appreciate your time.
My pleasure. Thanks again.